Hello and welcome to English Spark Official. I'm Zayden, joined as always by Alara.
Hey everyone! We're so excited about today's topic.
Imagine you are sitting in a theater, right? You are watching this incredibly tense thriller.
Oh, like a high-stakes action movie.
Yeah, exactly. The hero is, they're defusing a bomb, the timer is ticking down.
The music is swelling.
Right, the music is swelling, you are on the edge of your seat, but then every 3 minutes, you just pause the movie.
Oh, wow, just stop it completely.
Yeah, you pause it to read, like, a Wikipedia article about the type of wire they are cutting, or, the history of the actor's career.
That sounds awful. You would completely destroy the tension.
You would ruin the entire movie, yet millions of language learners do exactly this.
They really do.
Every single day with their smartphones, and, well, it is the precise reason they struggle to hold a natural conversation in English.
It is crazy, right?
Right.
We treat language like a data entry task rather than an actual experience.
Like a spreadsheet or something.
Exactly. We have this conditioning that instant access to information equals instant progress.
You see a gap in your knowledge, you pull out your phone.
You pull out your phone, you translate the word, and you assume, like, oh, I have just leveled up. But the mechanics of human cognition tell a completely different story.
Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Our mission today is to tear down the illusion that your smartphone is your best language learning friend.
It is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people.
It really is, because we are looking at a stack of sources today centering on a fascinating concept. It is a psychological hurdle called the intent trigger.
The intent trigger, yeah.
Yeah.
Such a crucial concept.
And we are using that to trace the journey, which is notoriously difficult, from A2 beginner survival level skills to B2 conversational fluency.
It is the biggest roadblock for learners.
Absolutely. And just a quick note for you listening, we are going to avoid complex academic jargon today. We want to keep this approachable.
Right, simple vocabulary, real-life scenarios. We're even going to model some practice exercises you could do right along with us.
So no robotic textbook-style learning today. We are looking at the daily habits and the physical mechanics of speech.
And those neurological traps that keep people stuck, in that perpetual beginner mindset.
The paradox here is just so fascinating to me. We all have smartphones. We all look up words we do not know.
Of course we do. It's human nature to want to know.
But what if that exact habit, your specific search style, is the biggest roadblock to actually speaking fluently?
Well, the device that gives you access to every English word ever recorded it is the very mechanism preventing you from stringing those words together fluidly.
It is short-circuiting us.
Yeah, the ability to instantly search is short-circuiting the brain's natural pattern recognition software.
Let us get right into this concept of the intent trigger, because the sources frame this as the absolute core of the problem.
It is the root of the bad search style, absolutely.
And we are not just talking about like a casual desire to look something up later.
No. We're talking about a biological split-second interrupt, an acute cognitive spike.
Let us break that down for our listeners. What exactly does intent trigger mean in simple terms?
Sure. So intent just means what you want to do. And a trigger is the thing that makes you do it.
Okay, so it is that exact moment your brain decides it absolutely must look up a word.
Yes, it is that precise moment your brain registers an unknown variable, like a word you do not recognize, and decides it simply cannot proceed until that variable is defined.
It is an itch that demands to be scratched right then and there.
Exactly. It creates this localized anxiety, a sudden spike in cognitive load, where your working memory basically stops processing the incoming conversation.
Oh, wow. So it redirects all its resources towards solving this one tiny mystery.
Yeah, you stop listening to the person talking to you and you just obsess over that one unknown word.
I want to visualize this. Let us use an analogy. Think about riding a bicycle.
Okay, riding a bike.
You're pedaling, you have got momentum, the balance feels effortless because, you are moving forward.
Right, the forward motion keeps you up.
But the moment you spot a pothole, which is our unknown word here, you slam on the brakes.
You just stop dead in your tracks.
You stop the bike, you get off, you pull out a tape measure, and you spend 5 minutes analyzing the depth and width of this pothole.
That is exactly what reaching for the dictionary app is like.
And if I do that every 100 yards, I am never getting across town. Is that what we are doing when we search for every single English word we do not know?
That is a perfect analogy. And more importantly, you keep losing your balance every time you try to start pedaling again.
Because you lose all your momentum.
Yes. The loss of balance is the key there. In linguistics, that momentum is called prosody.
Prosody, which is like the rhythm, right?
Right, the rhythm, the stress, and the intonation of speech. When you hit the brakes to search for a word, you are not just pausing, you are shattering the prosody.
You are breaking the music of the language.
By the time your brain retrieves the definition from your dictionary app, the speaker has already moved on.
You have lost the thread completely.
You have lost the rhythm of the sentence, the emotional tone of the speaker, the broader context of the paragraph. You have the definition of the pothole, but you have fallen off the bike.
Let us ground this in a real-world scenario so you listening can really picture it.
Good idea. Let us use a high-stress environment.
Okay, let us say you are visiting New York for the first time. You walk into a really busy coffee shop.
Classic scenario. There's a line out the door.
The espresso machine is screaming in the background, and you are already feeling the pressure of ordering in a second language.
Your affective filter is already elevated.
Wait, affective filter? What is that?
Oh, it is just the psychological wall that goes up when you feel anxious or stressed. It makes learning and speaking much harder.
Got it. So you are stressed, you order your black coffee, and the barista hands you the cup and asks, do you want room for cream?
Let us freeze time right there.
Okay, time frozen. The learner hears the word room. Now, they probably learned room early on in their English classes.
Yeah, A1 or A2 level vocabulary.
But they learned it as a physical space with 4 walls and a door, like a bedroom or a dining room.
Right. And immediately, the intent trigger fires.
The brain spots the pothole.
The brain detects what we call a semantic anomaly. It says, a bedroom for cream. That violates the rules I memorized.
So what happens next? What is the bad search style reaction here?
The immediate impulse is to panic. You either literally reach for your phone or you mentally flip through your internal Rolodex to find an alternate translation.
And during that mental freeze, while you are searching your brain, the barista is just staring at you.
Just staring.
The line behind you is sighing. The interaction turns incredibly awkward because you have prioritized data retrieval over human connection.
You have prioritized the dictionary over the actual physical environment you were standing in.
But look at the physical context of that exact moment.
Right, let us look at the clues.
You are holding a cup of black coffee. The barista is holding a small pitcher of milk.
And they are gesturing toward the top of your cup.
So if you suppress the intent trigger, if you force yourself not to search, your brain is actually incredibly adept at solving puzzles using visual clues, right?
Absolutely. What else could room mean in that specific physical space other than empty space at the top of the cup?
You just guess it from the context, and that is a much faster search style than looking it up.
It is vastly superior because it relies on episodic memory rather than declarative memory.
Meaning you remember the event, not just a fact on a flashcard.
Exactly. When you deduce that room means empty space because you see the milk and the coffee, your brain wires that vocabulary word to the smell of the coffee shop.
The noise of the espresso machine.
The relief of a successful interaction. That word is now locked in. If you just read room equals empty space on a screen, it's abstract.
It vanishes from your memory an hour later.
Exactly.
That makes total sense. But I have to push back here a little bit.
Sure, go for it.
If we tell listeners to abandon their dictionaries and just rely on context, aren't we ignoring the reality of beginners?
How do you mean?
Well, if I drop you in the middle of Tokyo and you do not know a single word of Japanese, there's no context. It is just a wall of noise.
That is very true.
You cannot guess from context if you do not know the basic building blocks of the language yet.
That tension you were describing is exactly what our sources highlight when discussing the journey from the A2 level to the B2 level.
Okay, so this is where the levels come in.
It is the most treacherous transition in language learning. Because at A2, you are a beginner, a basic user. You are in survival mode.
Right.
At that stage, you actually have to use the dictionary. You need direct translations to build a rudimentary scaffolding.
You need the training wheels.
Yes. You need the training wheels to even get on the bike. So the translation app is not inherently evil.
It is a vital tool for a beginner.
The danger, though, lies in the habit formation.
What happens with the habit?
Well, when you use the translation app constantly at the A2 level, you train your brain's dopamine system.
Oh, dopamine,
Yeah.
the reward chemical.
Right. You feel confused, you search the app, you get an answer, and boom, you feel a hit of satisfaction.
You feel like you achieved something.
But you mistake the feeling of finding a definition for the act of actual learning.
Oh, wow. It is the illusion of competence.
Exactly. Because you possess the data on your phone, you feel like you possess the language in your mind, which is false.
That is profound. And as you move toward B2, which is that upper intermediate independent conversational stage.
That A2 habit becomes a massive liability. Keeping that same search style actively slows down your learning.
Because B2 requires understanding words in natural flowing sentences. It requires speed.
It requires processing chunks of language rather than individual words. But your brain is still addicted to the safety of the dictionary.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It is actually a habit problem, not a language problem at that point.
Yes, you are trying to ride a racing bike, but you refuse to take the training wheels off.
Let us apply this to another scenario, something a bit more passive than a coffee shop.
Okay, what do you have in mind?
Let us say you are sitting on your couch watching an action movie in English.
Oh, a movie. High emotional valence, rapid speech, complex slang.
Things are exploding. The stakes are high. The protagonist is yelling. It is a perfect stress test for your language processing.
So what does the A2 habit look like here? The person who cannot let go of the training wheels.
Well, they hear an unknown word in the middle of a tense scene, and they hit pause.
Oh, no.
The movie freezes. The tension just evaporates. They pull out their phone, type in the word, read the definition, nod, and hit play.
And then 3 minutes later, they do it again.
Exactly. The cognitive result of that process is catastrophic for fluency.
They are treating a dynamic piece of art like an autopsy.
Wow, an autopsy.
They are dissecting the language, but they are killing the patient in the process. A 2-hour movie takes 4 hours to watch.
And they absorb zero of the emotion of the dialogue.
So what does the B2 learner do in that exact same scenario? Because the intent trigger still fires, right?
Right. They still feel that spike of anxiety when they hear a word they do not know.
They feel it, but they have trained themselves to manage it. The B2 learner acknowledges the unknown word, but they do not pause the film.
They just keep going.
Instead, they embrace what cognitive scientists call desirable difficulty.
Desirable difficulty. I like that phrase.
They write down the timestamp, say 45 minutes and 12 seconds. Or they scribble a rough phonetic spelling of the word and they just keep watching.
They force themselves to sit in the discomfort of not knowing.
Well, I shouldn't say exactly that they just sit in it. Let me rephrase that. They use the discomfort as a tool.
How so?
By finishing the scene, they allow the emotion, the body language of the actors, and the musical score to fill in the semantic gaps.
Ah, so even if they do not know the specific verb the hero used.
They know the hero is terrified. They grasp the macro meaning of the scene.
And then I assume they go back later.
Yes. After the movie, they pull up their notes. They look up the word at that timestamp.
And what happens then?
When they finally read the definition, a fascinating neurological event happens. They retroactively attach that abstract definition to the visceral memory of the movie scene.
The word bonds with the emotion.
That is the threshold of B2 fluency. You are no longer memorizing data. You are attaching language to human experience.
Okay, but if the dictionary is the trap and sitting in the discomfort is the goal, what is the actual physical alternative?
Right, you need a new habit.
If I'm trying to break the habit of constantly searching, what daily habit should replace it? Because my brain is going to spin its wheels.
The sources explicitly highlight a mandatory learning feature for this. The replacement mechanism is shadowing practice.
Shadowing practice.
Yeah.
And repetition of key phrases. What exactly is shadowing? It sounds a bit like, I don't know, an espionage tactic.
It is an auditory hijacking. Shadowing is the act of repeating what a native speaker says immediately after they say it.
Like right away.
Instantly.
Yeah.
You copy their tone, their rhythm, their stress. Instead of pausing to search for the meaning, you pause to repeat the sound.
You are bypassing the brain's semantic processing center and routing the input directly into the motor cortex.
You are building muscle memory rather than just book memory.
Wait, slow down there. Bypassing the semantic center. Are you saying we are repeating words without caring what they mean?
Essentially, yes, for that brief moment.
Well, wait, what if I am shadowing a word I do not understand? Am I just acting like a parrot? If I repeat a Russian sentence flawlessly, but I do not speak Russian, I am not communicating.
That is the most common pushback against shadowing, and frankly, the most logical one. But it misunderstands how the adult brain acquires a second language.
Unpack that for me.
Let us look at the phonological loop. It is a brief sound buffer in your working memory. When you hear an English word, your adult brain automatically tries to map those sounds onto the phonetic rules of your native language.
Right, so if my native language does not have a T sound, my brain tries to replace it with a Z or an S or a D just to make it fit my existing mental models.
Exactly. And that translation process happens at the muscular level, not just the cognitive level. Your tongue and lips are physically biased toward your native language.
Oh, that makes sense.
When you shadow, you engage in articulatory suppression.
That sounds intense. Articulatory suppression.
It just means that by forcing your mouth to immediately replicate the English sound, even if you do not understand the word, you are physically overriding your native language's motor patterns.
You are training the muscles before you train the intellect. Pronunciation and rhythm are just as important as vocabulary.
And understanding often follows rhythm naturally.
Let us actually model this dynamically, because talking about muscle memory is one thing, but feeling it is another.
Let us do a simple practice exercise. Listeners, you could try this right alongside us.
All right, I am going to say a simple sentence naturally. I think I need a new search style.
Okay, now before we repeat it, here is a listening focus cue. Listen carefully to how the words search and style link together.
Search style. You notice how the chi in search kind of crashes right into the keyist in style?
Right. Native speakers do not usually pause between every single word.
So I am going to repeat it slowly, and I want you listening to repeat after me. Try to mimic that exact link. Ready? I think I need a new search style.
Perfect. That pause gives the listener time to practice out loud.
I think I need a new search style. Oh, that feels completely different when you focus purely on the sound blending.
Because you're not fighting the natural mechanics of the language anymore. For those 3 seconds, you aren't agonizing over grammar rules.
I wasn't translating the word search into my mother tongue.
You are entirely focused on the physical choreography of your vocal cords.
And how does that choreography lead to comprehension, though? If I am just focusing on sounds blending, I am not focusing on the meaning.
As I mentioned earlier, comprehension follows rhythm. Look at how infants acquire language.
Oh, babies. They do not start with flashcards or syntax trees.
They babble. They mimic the intonation contours of their parents' voices months before they produce a single coherent word.
They learn the music before they learn the lyrics.
Precisely. Rhythm gives you structural blueprints. By physically feeling where the natural pauses are, you begin to implicitly sense which words are the heavy nouns and verbs.
And which are the light grammatical filler words.
Once you have that rhythmic scaffolding built into your muscle memory, dropping new vocabulary words into the structure becomes exponentially easier.
You have built the house, now you just need to arrange the furniture.
I love that, yes.
That is a fascinating way to look at it. But here is the practical limitation.
What is that?
Shadowing requires speaking out loud, which isn't always possible. How can the listener improve their habits when they can only listen?
A very real constraint. A lot of our language exposure happens in places where we cannot speak.
Like I am on a crowded subway train commuting to work. Or I am sitting at my desk in an open-plan office. I cannot start loudly mimicking an English podcast.
People will think you have lost your mind.
Exactly. And if you are in a purely auditory environment, an input-only scenario, the risk of the bad search style creeping back in is immense.
You hear a word, you cannot shadow it, so your brain defaults to reaching for the phone.
So how do we intercept that? How do I keep my brain from slipping into passive listening?
By utilizing what the research calls listening focus cues, incorporating small, interactive questions to prevent passive robotic learning.
Because a lot of learners believe that if they just have English playing in the background, like elevator music, their subconscious will magically absorb the grammar.
The osmotic theory of learning. Put a textbook under your pillow and wake up fluent.
It is a comforting lie, isn't it?
It really is. The neuroscience of attention relies on the reticular activating system. It is a network in your brainstem that filters incoming stimuli.
So if you do not give your brain a specific reason to care about the English playing in your headphones,
it will filter it out as white noise so you can focus on what you are having for dinner. Active listening requires a task.
Give me an example of a task that does not involve pulling out my phone to look up words.
Well, when listening to a podcast or watching a show, you set the task before you press play. You create an artificial constraint.
Like a focus cue.
Yes. For example, you tell yourself, for the next 10 minutes, I am not going to worry about understanding the topic. Instead, my sole focus is to count how many times the speaker uses the word actually.
Oh, that's interesting. It is like a scavenger hunt. It forces my reticular activating system to stay highly alert.
Scanning every single sentence for that specific phonetic shape.
And crucially, it gives you a victory condition that has nothing to do with complete comprehension.
Right. When you hear a word you do not know, the intent trigger tries to fire. But your brain overrides it, saying, I don't care what that word means because it wasn't the word actually. Keep scanning.
You are actively bypassing the panic. Let us expand this to something a bit deeper than just counting a single word. Let us go back to the train commute scenario.
Okay, you are squeezed between two people on the train listening to an English interview.
Instead of searching for words I missed, I practice a daily habit, listening for tone.
Yes, this is where you shift your focus cue from phonetic hunting to pragmatic analysis.
Pragmatics is the study of how context influences meaning, right?
Exactly. So your focus cue becomes identifying the tone. Are the speakers agreeing or disagreeing? Is this a formal debate or a casual chat? Are they joking?
Tracking the emotional journey rather than the data transfer.
Sarcasm is a brilliant stress test for language learners here, because the semantic meaning of the words is often the exact opposite of the pragmatic intent.
Give me a concrete example of that semantic versus pragmatic split.
Take the phrase, "oh, brilliant." If I say it with a rising, energetic intonation, "oh, brilliant," the pragmatics match the semantics. I'm expressing genuine excitement.
But if you drop your pitch, elongate the vowels, and sigh, "oh, brilliant,"
I am expressing frustration or disappointment. But the text on the page is identical.
a dictionary app will tell you both mean exceptionally clever or talented.
But the dictionary is fundamentally lying to you in the second scenario. It is providing data devoid of humanity.
Only your ear, attuned to the prosody of the speaker, can decode the true meaning.
So when you are on that train, your task is to map the emotional shifts. When does the speaker's pitch rise? When do they interrupt each other?
I love this because it frames language as human behavior rather than a math problem to be solved.
You become an anthropologist observing human interaction rather than a computer trying to parse code.
So think about your commute tomorrow, listener. What is one small listening goal you can set for yourself that does not involve looking at your phone?
Maybe it's listening for filler words, trying to catch every time a native speaker says, or like, or.
A fantastic exercise. It keeps you engaged, and it humanizes the language. You realize native speakers stumble and hesitate all the time.
It destroys the illusion that fluency requires perfection, which lowers that effective filter we talked about.
Okay, we have all these disparate pieces. We understand the danger of the intent trigger. We know the difference between A2 survival and B2 flow.
We have shadowing to build motor skills and focus cues to build active listening.
So what does this all mean for you tomorrow morning? How do we bring all these techniques into one cohesive daily routine?
Sustainability is the final piece of the puzzle. The necessity of making learning feel like a natural, human-like conversation.
Learning shouldn't be about locking yourself in a room with a textbook. It shouldn't feel like an academic, overly long exercise.
If your study routine feels like a punishment, your brain will reject the information. You need to start with simple vocabulary and gradually increase the difficulty in your daily inputs.
So what does a human-like routine actually look like?
It looks messy. It embraces interruptions, reactions, and light humor in daily interactions, just like a real conversation.
Let us say you are listening to a 5-minute English news brief while you make your morning coffee. Your focus cue is set.
Maybe you are listening for the names of cities.
Suddenly, your roommate walks in and asks you where the sugar is, or your dog starts barking.
The traditional learner panics. They hit pause, deal with the interruption, and then rewind the audio back 30 seconds so they do not miss a single syllable.
Striving for robotic perfection, which just reinforces that data entry mindset.
The sustainable conversational routine does the opposite. You deal with the roommate, and when you return your attention to the audio, you just jump back in wherever it happens to be.
You accept that you missed 30 seconds of information. You treat it like walking into a room where a conversation is already happening at a party.
You do not demand everyone stop and recap what they just said. You just listen for a minute, figure out the context, and adapt.
You are training your brain's recovery mechanisms. In a real-life conversation, you will constantly zone out, mishear things, or get distracted.
If your only practice environment is a sterile, perfectly controlled audio track that you constantly rewind, you will completely freeze the first time a real human being mumbles.
Perfection really is the enemy of fluency here. The desire to capture 100% of the data is precisely what stops you from developing the conversational agility to handle 70% effectively.
And that leads us to a final simple assignment based on the sources for the listener today, a direct way to rewire your relationship with the unknown.
Ooh, an assignment. I like this.
The next time you hit an intent trigger, that word you desperately want to look up while reading or listening,
That spike of anxiety, The urge to know exactly what the word ubiquitous or ephemeral means?
When you feel that urge, you must enforce the 5-minute rule.
The 5-minute rule.
You must wait exactly 5 minutes before searching for it. You are forbidden from touching your phone, opening a new tab, or looking at a dictionary.
Oh, that is going to feel like psychological torture for some people. 5 minutes is a long time when your brain is screaming at you to close the loop.
It utilizes delayed gratification to build cognitive resilience. During those 5 minutes, you must try to guess it from the context first.
You force your brain to engage the environment. You keep reading the paragraph. You listen to the tone.
You actively attempt to deduce the meaning from the shadows it casts on the rest of the sentence.
You become a detective instead of a data clerk.
And the results are overwhelmingly consistent. Roughly half the time, by the end of that 5-minute window, the surrounding context will have illuminated the meaning.
You will have solved the puzzle independently, which creates a massive dopamine reward linked to your own deduction skills rather than a smartphone app.
Now, what about the other half of the time? What if it has been 5 minutes, you've read the whole page, and you still have absolutely no idea what the word means?
Then and only then do you look it up.
But because you just spent 5 minutes wrestling with the concept, feeling the shape of the hole it left in the sentence, your brain is primed to receive the answer.
The definition doesn't just pass through your short-term memory. It drops directly into the cognitive slot you spent 5 minutes carving out.
The retention rate skyrockets. You replace cheap, instant data with hard-earned comprehension.
You have moved from consuming the language to inhabiting it. Let us pull the threads together on this deep dive.
We covered a lot of ground today.
We started by diagnosing the core illness, the intent trigger, and the bad search style that shatters our conversational momentum.
We looked at the treacherous bridge between A2 and B2, realizing that the dictionary that saved us as a beginner will drown us as an intermediate learner.
We examined shadowing as a physical workaround, a way to train the articulatory muscles to bypass the translation buffer.
And we established active listening focus cues as a way to maintain cognitive engagement when we cannot speak aloud.
By embracing the chaos of interruptions and enforcing the 5-minute rule, we transition from being students of a textbook to active participants in human communication.
It is a fundamental shift in how we perceive the unknown. An unknown word is no longer an error message to be cleared. It is an environmental clue to be investigated.
I want to leave you with one final provocative thought, something that steps outside the boundaries of second language acquisition and touches on our broader modern psychology.
Oh, this is a big one. We have spent the last hour entirely on how your search style affects your English. We have proven that the impatience for a translation breaks your cognitive flow.
But think about this. We live in an age where literally every answer, every piece of trivia is instantly available on our phones.
Exactly. How is your impatience to search changing the way you process information in your own native language?
That is a chilling thought. If the dictionary app makes us worse at guessing context in English, what is the ubiquitous search engine doing to our baseline critical thinking?
Are we all systematically losing the ability to just sit with a mystery and figure it out from context?
Are we losing the capacity to let a complex idea unfold slowly simply because our brains demand a definitive answer within 3 seconds?
We are so terrified of the pothole that we might be forgetting how to ride the bike altogether. It is something to reflect on the next time you reflexively reach for your phone.
Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is just keep pedaling, sit in the discomfort of the unknown, and see where the momentum takes you. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Put that 5-minute rule into practice tomorrow, keep learning, and as always, stay curious.